to the Jumping Puddles podcast. Be sure to listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and or YouTube. And follow us at Jumping Puddles Podcast on Tumblr and Instagram, and Jumping Pud Pod on Twitter. Hi, I'm American Sam, and with me are my fellow co-hosts, Tor, Ash, and Australian Sam.
Hey!
Good evening. And today we are watching Before I Sleep. The Atlantis expedition finds an elderly woman in stasis who had been there like that for 10,000 years. Thinking she is an ancient, they revive her, but find out that she is Elizabeth Weir, who is from an alternate timeline in which her expedition came to an Atlantis where the conditions weren't as perfect.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. That's not it! Tor! Oh my god! It's dun, dun, dun. No, ooh! You're killing me. You're killing me.
Oh, we're never
I
getting
can do it
right.
again. It kind of sucked, but yeah.
No.
No, it's all good. Let's
it was all me. It was all me. I oohed when I should have.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
No. It's funny, because it's funny.
We have 15 episodes in. It worked like once, I think.
Yeah. It adds character.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does this episode start off, really? Like, who finds the old lady? Take it away, Ash.
Okay, no, it starts with such a cute episode with Elizabeth on the balcony, and John comes and joins her, and he's like, "Hey, happy birthday!" and he gives her a present.
Oh.
And it's something that the Athosians on the mainland, hey, we got a mention there. Wow.
Ooh,
Actually we did. Yeah.
They're alive.
Yeah, they are.
Just so you know.
And yeah, it's this little pot, or I don't really know what you call it. In the end, it's an urn, so fun times. But yeah, it's so cute, and she asks him how he found out that it's her birthday. I guess she's just a very private person and never tells anyone when it's her birthday. And yeah, and it's really, really cute. And it's the balcony, and it's all right. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I think that's their second balcony scene, or second big balcony scene. And I like that they have that's their thing. The balcony is their thing, you know. Yeah, it's so fun. I like to see the CGI ocean.
the really
it's
terrible,
so bad.
terrible CGI.
It's really, really bad.
Just give me Microsoft Paint and 10 minutes, and I'll come up with something a little bit better. No, I'm kidding, but still.
Atlantis remastered by Australian Sam.
I would pay big bucks for
It's not
that.
even a remaster. It's like a remake at that point.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me, I'll do it.
I was gonna say though, I mean, we get some great character moments, especially between John and Elizabeth and Rodney. It's just continuing the platonic soulmates agenda. Thank you so much for giving us that. Because I love all their little friendship beats. And yeah, the balcony is their spot. Yeah, the balcony is their home.
So
and then I think Taylor and Elizabeth's spot, I feel is just all over. Either her office, or the little walkway to her office. I'll cry.
Screaming. Yeah.
I love that everyone has their designated spot where they hang out with the other person. What is John and Rodney's?
I'd say the lab. Or
the lab, or
actually,
the pier. The pier.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
They don't ever hang out. They don't ever really hang out there more than once. But I don't give a shit. In our version of the show, they go there every night.
Yeah.
Australian Sam.
Am I wrong though? There's been several occasions. I can't.
Australian
Come
Sam
on.
literally sent us a message in our Discord. You can say it on the air. You can go ahead, say it.
Oh, I mean, you guys can, but I can't because of yeah.
Okay, well, so we don't like leave all the viewers hanging. Australian Sam messaged us. And she said, "John's bedroom,"
which is not a lie. It's
Am I wrong?
true.
Am I wrong?
They have many a chat in there. Many a chat.
Okay, anyway, here are all the examples of why that place is very significant for John and Rodney. Teo and Rodney, several scenes in there. The end of Miller's Crossing. What else? The episode that John's father dies.
Outcast.
And Rodney goes to apologize to him, and he's in his room. The shrine.
Ooh.
Need I continue?
Oh, that was a big one. Oh, and McKay and Miss Miller.
Oh,
Mine?
yes.
Can't remember.
Yeah, so
I know what the episode is, but what was the scene in that room?
McKay is like upset because he thinks that Jeannie likes the other Rodney better than him. So he goes to John and is like, "I'm the better one," right? Like, yeah. So that's it.
Yeah.
And John is there like polishing his golf clubs.
Like a white
frickin'
man.
dork.
Yeah. Like, why are you, as a man, polishing your golf gloves in the presence of another man? What is the heterosexual explanation for that? I don't know.
What was that? Oh my god, that one Tumblr post that never fails to crack me up. But it was like, John is never beating the rich white boy allegations.
He's not.
This motherfucker's out here just polishing his fucking golf club in a new galaxy. He's so bougie. I hate him.
Yep.
It's bougie.
I was just gonna say, speaking of spots on Atlantis, I love when an episode has city exploration. And this one had a ton. It's always a good time. And I like when episodes are, like, just confined to Atlantis, because I think Atlantis itself is just full of mystery and has so much potential for plot. And bottle episodes are my favorite. So yeah, I just love that was the premise of this episode.
Yeah, they refer to Atlantis as being the size of Manhattan.
How big's Manhattan? Damn.
I don't really know, like, miles, but I've been there, and it's pretty fucking huge. Manhattan, like, oh my god. I know, like, obviously, like, the budget limitations, you know, so they can never show how big it is, but I'd be forgetting all the time that it has, like, multiple towers. Like, and especially because, you know, they just, like, reuse sets and stuff, so it does kind of look the same a lot of the time. But imagine, like, if they had more than $3, imagine if they had, like, a big budget. Like, they could have shown... They could have shown so much, and I think it would have been so cool. And that's why I think... Sorry, not to jump already, but that's why I think SGU is a little bit superior in some ways, because, like, you really do feel the Destiny's, like, I don't know, vastness, because, like, it's not till season 2 where they discover the freaking engine room. Like, it takes them a whole season to find that. Like, like, and they show different rooms too, you know, so I definitely think that's that has a leg up on Atlantis.
So I used Google, trusty Google, and it said that Manhattan's size roughly, with both land and water, is 87 square kilometers. So that's pretty big. And I think John mentioned in an earlier episode that they haven't even seen all of it yet because they've been trying to conserve power. So they've been housing people closer to control room. So they have all this unexplored space And it's all Atlantis. And it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that in, you said 80 what kilometers?
Oh, so that would be like 33, 34 square miles for you.
Oh. You were clarifying that. I was like, what is it? I could not properly react with you guys. I was like, oh, sorry, stupid American here. I don't know what you mean. But like, now I got the reaction. I got a delayed ass reaction. Everyone was like, oh my god. But now I'm like, oh my god. Girl, 40 miles?
Yeah, pretty much. Square miles.
That's insane.
Atlantis doesn't seem that big.
It doesn't seem that big.
No, we don't get to see it, really,
Yeah.
as that big of a thing.
Yeah.
Inside. Outside, we get
It sort of
shots.
feels... Oh no, sorry. Please repeat that. Sorry. I interrupted your last part.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, we see outside shots, and it looks, like, relatively big, but also it's on, like, a huge-ass ocean or body of water, so it makes it look so tiny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually true. That is very true. I was gonna say though, it almost kind of feels like the TARDIS in a way, you know, where the TARDIS has like infinite rooms, you just never really fucking see them, and so you like forget that it's like infinite in its like ability to make rooms until you watch the like one episode where they go to like the what is it called? Journey to the Center of the TARDIS or something.
Yeah.
And you see like a few of the rooms and stuff. I feel like that's very like Atlantis brand, where like occasionally they'll be like, "Ooh, hey, a new lab."
Yeah.
And you'll be like, cool.
And there's always something nefarious in the new lab, or something cool.
Yeah, it's like it's never like a nice like it's never like a sunroom or like a.
I was just saying, what if one day they find like the huge pool or something? Like indoors or something, and
Don't get me started.
Pool party. Atlantis pool
Yes.
party. Fuck yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Atlantis Rec
We were
Room.
robbed. And I say robbed with a capital R of a beach and pool party episode. Where the
Beach
hell?
and pool
Why did we
party.
get one?
/ musical episode. High School Musical shit. But Stargate Atlantis, please. We needed that so bad.
I mean, like, there's just no excuse. They're on Atlantis. You're telling me we never saw like the team find like an indoor pool?
I was gonna say, Rodney and John's banter about, like, the rooms was so funny. Like, Rodney's like, you know, I want this, this, and this in my room. And John's like, really? Like, we're in outer space and, like, you're worried about what your room's gonna look like? And then them arguing about, like, the size of the rooms after. Just so good. I love that domestic-y stuff. They're too funny.
Yeah.
The old marriedness came out.
yeah.
Yeah, it's where one of those like extra characters come out and they're just like, so you guys married or something? No, what? They do the whole freak out. No, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, nah. So you were saying, Ash?
Yeah, I was just wondering why Rodney wasn't with the team, why he was staying back, and I was wondering maybe he was like traumatized from Hot Zone. Was it last episode or the episode before that? Yeah, the episode before that. Yeah, exploring the city maybe. Last time didn't go so well for him, or for his team. He came out unharmed, more or less.
Psychologically and emotionally damaged, but not physically.
Exactly, yeah.
I was gonna say, that's such a good comparison that you brought. I did not think about that. That's true. Like, maybe he really was like, you know what, y'all take the team this time. I'll stay back and watch.
Yeah, and they are still so hell-bent on meeting actual action, and they continue to do that for a while. Like, it's not just the first season, it's just, I'm on the second one right now, like in a private rewatch, and it's the same, like every other episode. Oh, they could be actual ancients, and I'm always like, yeah, you've been trying that for how long now? Oh, yeah.
Can't get over it, can they?
No,
No,
not at
absolutely
all.
not.
Can't let it go.
And Rodney is still so salty about Chaya. Like, he's like, you let her go. Like, come on. Like, You didn't even ask her the good questions, like how the fuck we make a ZPM, and like all you cared about was getting some nookie. Like, come on.
It is.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the makeshift banter in this episode, top freaking tier. Some of the most iconic moments, but especially in relation to the Chaya part. So fucking funny. Because, like, there was no need. No one had brought up Chaya. No one had even, like, no one else. Rodney goes, yeah, like, unless we got, like, he said something about, like, letting her slip away, right? And John just looks so offended for a second, and then he's kind of, like, embarrassed for a second, too. It's like, this is so funny. John, Rodney did not need to do that. He's so mean. He fucking hates her. And, like, this is why we needed her to come back, so he could bully her again. Like, they would have been literally fighting, pigtail pulling in the gate room.
I would pay money for that.
They have like a betting pool, like when they the time when Teal came to Atlantis.
If this is in later seasons too, it could be like Ronan being like, "Okay, Rodney, here's how you like incapacitate." Ronan giving pointers really quick. He's like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna have to do to character," and he's like, "Yeah." It's like a wrestling like.
Guys, I'm really sorry. I have to go. My nan just got here. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Going to miss
oh,
you.
I'll see you guys later. I'm so sorry. Finish the episode without me. I'm sorry.
Bye, have fun.
Bye.
And then we were 3.
Yeah.
We're not a full gate team.
That's true. Yeah, but what were you gonna say, Ash?
Yeah. About the Chaya slashing. We get some continuity here. Like, they mentioned the last episode a few times. That's wow, progress.
Yeah, that's true. Because
Yeah,
right now
that's
we've had very little like thorough threads of like plot. Like just the ZPM stuff is what's kind of our through line. But usually it's episodic, like do it and forget it. But yeah, I like that blatant, explicit carryover. That's true.
That's true. Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like, I wonder, I mean, obviously, like, we don't get, like, a specific timeline of when all these things happen, but I was like, how long has it been since Chaya was here? Like, has it just been, like, a fucking week? Or, like, how, like, a month? Like, it just makes it even so much funnier, too, if it's been, like, longer. Because, like, imagine it's been, like, a month, and it's like, Rodney, why would you bring up Chaya, you bitch? It's been a month.
Get over it.
I forgot. It's just ingrained in his mind. Or, I mean, it'd be funny if this was last week, too, because, like, he's still not letting it go.
yeah.
Never.
Yeah, but we learned that we didn't meet the ancients this time because it's old Elizabeth. Or
That's
Elizabeth
right.
from 10,000 years ago, which is insane.
So cool.
And yeah. I love this little scene when Elizabeth joins the team in the lab, and she stands in front of like the stasis chamber, and she kind of looks at this woman that she doesn't know that it's her yet, and I feel like she picks something up. Like I feel like feels like there's some connection, maybe, or maybe some familiarity. Wasn't a word. But yeah, she kind of looks familiar on some level, maybe, but she can't quite figure it out. So it was very subtle, and maybe I'm interpreting too much into it. But yeah, to me, she kind of looked at it like a very serene, and yeah, I don't know. I really like that little thing.
No, I mean, I totally agree. I definitely think that she kind of sensed some sort of connection through the little glass. I don't know, like, I kind of want to just talk really quick about the overall episode, because it's like our first like solo like Elizabeth episode.
Yes.
Right? And so honestly, I feel like I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I wanted to ask you guys. I think this is my favorite Elizabeth solo episode. what do you guys think though? What are your guys' favorites? Sorry to kind of sidetrack it really quick, but I just want to know what your favorites are.
So there's this one. There's what's the one where the nanites again? I really like that one too.
The Real World?
The Real World.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know if there are more like really solo episodes except these two. And I can't choose between them.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, they are very different. Like the Real World is pretty heavy, I feel like. Like this one too. I mean, she watches herself die. But the other one is just, it goes so deep into her psyche and her fears and everything. I'm really looking forward to that episode. But yeah, I can't really choose between those two.
I think, I don't know if it's because I just watched it now, but I want to say right now, this will probably change when we watch The Real World, but right now I really like Before I Sleep because of the message in it. There's a couple of scenes where older Elizabeth is talking to her younger self, and she's like, be kinder to yourself. Like, you do such a good job and you're too hard on yourself. Like, you're constantly putting yourself down. Like, give yourself a break, give yourself a rest. And I think it's really powerful as a message because I think all of us want to be able to go back in time, or in her case, forward in time, but to talk to ourselves and be like, yeah, like you're being kind of mean to yourself and like, things are going to be better. Like, you have this whole future ahead of you and you are up for the challenge. Like, you can do it. And I think she really heeds that advice at the end of the episode when John is like, yo, we have a meeting. Are you coming? When she's on the balcony after she had to say goodbye to herself, essentially. And she says, yeah, I'll be there. Right. Like, I'll be right there. And then she says, wait, no, give me a minute. Like, she's giving herself the time to really process what she experienced and grieve in her own way. Instead of being like, yeah, like, I'm going to fix everything for everybody. I'll be at the meeting right now. Like, no, like, she gave herself that moment. So I love that at the end of the episode, she really heeded her own advice. That was awesome.
That was
You're
so
making
well
me
said.
Gosh, you're making me so emotional right now because
I know.
no, it's amazing. I love that last scene. It's also kind of cool because it kind of frames the episode. Like, it starts on the balcony and it ends on the balcony. I never realized that she took her advice literally and took it immediately and made it true. And that is so amazing. I didn't pick up on that. That's feels.
Yeah.
That was so well said. But 100% agree. I think I have to rewatch The Real World because I'll be honest, I don't remember a lot about it. I don't want to say anything else because, again, I don't remember much about it, but I don't know, there's just something about this episode I think is just so good. I mean, even besides, like, the whole, like, I think it's the fucking coolest thing. This is an AU, basically, of the first episode. And it, like, in such a darker way. And it's such a way that you'd think, like, oh yeah, this is probably, like, this is what would happen, really, But I'm sure people, like, back in the day when they first watched the pilot, they were like, that seems too easy, too convenient, blah, 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 blah. And this episode was like, shut up. Because they all died the first time. Like, there's nothing convenient about it. It was like literally she went, back in time, or back and then forward in time. But I really do think this does a really good job of just characterizing Elizabeth as well. Because, I mean, so far we've just seen, like, she is, like, kind and she's compassionate and she does care about the people of Atlantis. But I think in this episode we really see, like, how deep her love for not only the team, but just Atlantis as a whole, kind kind of like runs into her veins, because it's like, why, like, she would rather spend 10,000 years in a pod on the off chance that the team would even go, you know, that she didn't like completely destroy history, on the off chance that her future or like parallel self would lead the team again and they would be safe at the gate. No one else loves Atlantis like her, like truly. No one else understands Atlantis like her. Like, she is, like, if, you know, we all joke, like, oh, the base is sentient, but, like, if the base really was sentient, I think it would be obsessed with Elizabeth. And I definitely have a headcanon that, like, when she disappeared, I'm not saying died, bitch, when she left because of the replicators, I definitely have, like, a headcanon that, like, Atlantis, like, was so sad. Like, it refused to turn on the lights for, like, weeks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devastation.
I'm sad.
And I love that you brought
You're gonna make me cry.
No. I love that you brought up the fact that she'd rather stay in the pod for like 10,000 years and be an old lady than her other option was literally to go to Earth and live with the ancients. Like, this would be her dream at this point in the show, like, to be able to learn from the ancients, like, be amongst the ancients. But she gives that up for Atlantis and for the expedition. And that's insane. It's insane to think about. Insane.
Okay. Well, I'll bring us back from the edge, because I will say I do have a little bit of a complaint with that. Not with anything you said. No. So the original, like, Elizabeth Ancient, we'll call her Ancient Elizabeth, her ancient like Elizabeth, she obviously, like, she's the one who spent the time with the ancients. It's not like she could really tell Elizabeth, like, hey, like, all the details, you know. But I was really surprised that even after this, Elizabeth was like, ride or die for the ancients. I thought she'd be a little more like, hey, you know what? Like, wait, like, they wouldn't let you come back. Your only option was to go with Earth. And then they didn't even, like, pictures are so sloppy. They didn't even fucking check on her to see if they, like, she made it back with them on Earth. No one on Earth was like, oh, hey, by the way, Elizabeth didn't come here. They were just like, yeah, she went ahead. Whatever. Like, she really could have just been, like, in the bathroom. Or, like, packing. And they would have just left her behind. Like, they do not give a fuck. And so I was just really surprised that even after all this, like, you know, she got to watch how they treated Janice and, like, all this stuff, and how they just literally, like, suck as people. And she still was like, I love the ancients. And I was like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I kind of vibe with that.
Maybe it was because of Janice that she still hadn't given up on them.
True.
But yeah, you're right. It's weird. But I think I often catch myself that I'm in a similar position as like Elizabeth and some of the others towards the ancient. Like, in some part of my mind, I still think the ancients are cool. And especially Janice, like, for a really long time when this whole thing with there might be a fourth Stargate show started, like 5 years ago or something, I was like, oh, it would be so cool if we explored the ancients a bit more, especially Janice, because I thought he was fascinating. I think I might be wrong, but I think in the books he turns out to be a giant asshole. But I don't know. In the show, I don't know. I think he's an interesting character, and he saved Atlantis. So, thank you.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought up Janice, because I was gonna say, I wrote down, I was like, I'm a Janice stan, and then I was like, he was the only good one, and then I thought about it for a second, and I was like, didn't they mention him later on in the series? Like, wasn't he the one who was, like, starting the experiments on Wraiths?
That's possible.
Oh, I don't remember now.
That's possible.
Or, like, he had some sort of secret lab that, like...
I mean, it fits, because if I remember correctly, Janus is, like, I forgot which mythology, he's like a two-faced god, and one is good and one is bad. So yeah, he's kind of an ambiguous character.
That tracks. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I was also gonna say too, since we're on the topic of Janice, I mean, I wonder what happened to him. I'm surprised they didn't just like murder him before they left Atlantis. I'm surprised they let him come with them to Earth. Like, I don't know if they ever, like, did he ever ascend? I feel like they wouldn't let him. I don't feel like they would kick him out or something. Like, I wonder whatever happened to him.
So, I had a question. Like, he said that he was going to make his time travel technology again. So, is the time travel ship that they found in SG1 what he made after this whole thing happened?
I guess it must have been. It's never said specifically, but I think it is. Like, it would make sense. I hope that the writers... I don't know.
Yeah,
I hope the writers...
Let's just say it is, yes.
Yeah, and I think they used the same jumper. Well, I think they used the same jumper for both shows, like the time travel jumper. So they were using the same prop. So I hope they knew what they were doing. And so I guess he returned to Earth, or went to Earth, and just continued his work on time travel.
His illegal experience.
Yeah. And by the way, the woman, I forgot her name, also an ancient, she knew that Elizabeth stayed behind, right? Like, she gave him a look in the end, and it was like, right, yeah, okay.
I see you.
I think, yeah.
Now we have 2 nice ancients. Well, we have one. And then we have one with a question mark.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we hear his name at least twice. Maybe once more in the show. I think they bring him up. So we'll be excited to look out for that. Because I mean, we might just be slandering him for no reason. If that's the case, I'm so sorry, Janice. But if it is true that you were the one who started the race shit, they should have murdered you then before you got to Earth. Just do it. Just do like a whole Julius Caesar, like, for Rome. Since we're on the topic of Elizabeth with the Ancients, I am sad we didn't... I mean, we don't know how long she spent with them, right? Like, was it, like, maybe, like, a week, a month? Like, we really don't know. And so it does kind of make me sad that, like, we didn't get to see more of her with them. Because I'm sure she must have been, like, freaking out in the beginning, and I really wonder, you know, there's that one scene where Rodney starts like interrogating her immediately. He's like, "Oh, can you give us all this information?" And Elizabeth's like, "Take a step back." But I really wonder, like, what else she knew. Like, I'm sure she knew like so much. Like, imagine she knew like where the secret fucking like gardening room was, or like, I don't know, like maybe she probably knew so much about the base. They could have used her for so much more. But yeah, I think it does kind of suck. I think that we didn't get more of. I would have liked to see maybe less of the flashbacks, because I appreciated them, but maybe less of those, and maybe more dedicated to what she did at Atlantis for the like however much time she was there for.
Yeah, I agree. Because, like, some of the stuff they reused from the pilot, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, like, I could have done without the pilot stuff and then just do, like, the stuff of them in crisis, like Rodney in the flooding gate room, or, like, them in the bay. Speaking of which, wow. That was, like, the Darkest Timeline is also really compelling because everybody's demise is kind of interesting character tidbits. Like the fact that, obviously I'm going to focus on Rodney, the fact that he stayed behind even though he knew it was sort of like fruitless to try and open like the jumper bay hatch so that Elizabeth Zelenka and John could get out. That was like, damn. Like, he stayed and, like, drowned alive in that gate room, and he didn't give up trying until he was dead. Like, that's... And then they even mentioned Ford and Carson died saving a bunch of people too. So yeah, I was like, oh, heartrending stuff, but like they're all really good people because if you think about it, they didn't even know each other that well. Like the bonds they had forged in the fire of like that whole Wraith thing and all the stuff that they've been through so far hadn't happened. The expedition had just started. So really selfless actions on everyone's part, especially Elizabeth.
Absolutely. And I love this little scene when Elizabeth, John, and Rodney, there are so many things that I like about this episode. It's just amazing. But where Elizabeth, John, and Radek are in the jumper and about to take off, and Rodney is still in the gate room, and Elizabeth tells him several times to leave it and come join them. And it just shows again their relationship, and that reminded me that they probably knew each other a bit longer because they've been on the base on Earth for a while, I assume, and had been working together. And I liked that part that Elizabeth really wanted him to save himself, and instead he tried to save them.
My brave little toaster.
Oh, I know. I mean, again, like you guys summarized it so well. But he still gave up his life. Like, that's like insane to me. And I think it just kind of shows like what a different character he is from SG1 Rodney. Like, because obviously, like, this is before they even did any major heavy lifting. This is Rodney straight off from Earth. And he's still, like, even despite his, like, fucking asshole tendencies, Mr. Misogynist over there, like, underneath it all, like, he's still sacrificed himself for the team, the expedition. And if you would have told me, like, season 6 Rodney in SG1 would have done that, would have been like, bitch, who the hell are you talking about? That man is not Rodney, that is Rod. Like, I believe that, truly. That is Rod. I don't know how he came over. He pretended to be Rodney. He knocked him out, left him in the corner somewhere. And then Rodney just woke up and was like, why does everyone hate me so much? But yeah, I think it's just so sweet that, just brave everything that people, I feel like, tend to sometimes, I don't want to say ignore, but people don't tend to really, like, focus on those qualities of Rodney. That he actually can be kind of sweet deep down, and he can be very brave, and he can, like, be self-sacrificing. And they just showed it in this episode, and season 1 Rodney, we will never forget you. You are the GOAT. He started off the best, and unfortunately, but anyway. But no, season 1 Rodney, my beloved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that scene, I love the everybody in our timeline's reaction to hearing about their deaths. So, like, I think it's when Rodney finds out that he died, John makes, like, a joke, like, oh, good job failing to save everybody, or something. And it's just so John. Like, of course he ruins the mood. And he's like, he senses people are feeling things, like they're having feelings. And he's like, oh, no. Time to get surface level up in this bitch, because we're not prepared to deal with those emotions.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
oh my god.
The reactions are amazing, and there's when tiny, it's like a millisecond or something, where, Ford is sitting at a table and Carson's kind of standing next to him, and there's one tiny moment where kind of shifts, and I thought he was going to take Carson's hand. I don't know why, but it seems they were so close. It was like, oh, this is so cute. They were both like, oh my god, the story is so good and it's happening and it's so real. And yeah, that was just...
Oh.
Oh man. I was gonna say, kind of going off of that though, there's some like really great like background acting. I think, especially the early seasons. Honestly, I don't know about season 5. But there's just something so special about, like, in that big scene where they're all, like, in the room, they're all talking and stuff, and I think it's before... I can't remember exactly, but Rodney said something, and you just see John in the background, and he's just, like, looking at him like, what? Or, like, he just makes a face, and I was like, this is so funny. Just in the background, you can always find something, especially in those early seasons, and I think it just makes the experience, and it just makes the characters just feel so real as well. I think it was when they were arguing about the DeLorean.
Oh, yeah.
And John's like, what? Like, you don't like that movie? Like, it's so good.
Yes. Oh.
I love that scene, and I headcanon that when they started getting the Daedalus to come, that John requisitioned Back to the Future trilogy and was forced Rodney to watch them again, trying to change his mind. Because he was so offended when Rodney was like, those movies are crap. He was like, what? Yeah. It's so good. Also, speaking of background acting, the scene in the infirmary where they were like all waiting for Elizabeth to wake up again, and John and Rodney are sleeping. I think even, this is like neurotic sounding, but I think even their body language while they're sleeping is so in character. Like, Rodney's hunched in on himself, kinda, and then John is all like slacker, like lean in the chair. Yeah. It's just cute little stuff like that. I love it.
That's amazing.
Stop, I'm gonna cry.
And I love that scene because it shows the connection that, or how important this whole situation is, not only for to also to John and Rodney. They don't leave her alone, because there are a few, like, they both check in on her on several occasions, asking how she's doing, and always like, oh, this must be weird, right? And she's always like, yes, but they care so much for her, and they are there for her, and she doesn't have to go through this alone, and they literally fall asleep while waiting with her, and it's just my heart.
Okay. Maybe this episode made me a little bit of a John Elizabeth Rodney truther.
Yeah!
Maybe. You saying that, I was like, wait a damn
I noticed that there's something was happening.
I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm just a little bit. Okay, I see it. I think this episode you can point to it, and I'd be like, yeah, there's a little something.
Yeah.
But even them is just like a platonic or romantic, whatever you think of it. It's just, as an OT3, I think they're so good. Like, the 3 leaders of Atlantis,
Yeah.
and the way they just support each other, you know, through everything, especially, like, not only for Elizabeth, but for Rodney, like, and Tal Rodney and everything, and then for John, even when he can't handle it. So good. I was gonna say, so I know there's like a lot of really good episodes in Atlantis. I think so far we've kind of proved that even if there's a quote unquote bad episode, you can still find some good things. And so I understand that it's hard to rank episodes, but I am surprised this one isn't like more highly like remembered, or if this one like isn't just like brought up all the time. Because I think just the shock, I think, of watching the episode for the first time and being like, oh my god, everyone's dying, everyone's getting picked off like nothing. And the importance of this episode too, because they literally find out where to find more ZPMs after that. Like, literally, what would they have done without 10,000-year-old pod Elizabeth died? They would have died for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, and you know, I just love, and it's not only the flashbacks, it's like her with the ancients. This is the first time we really see actual ancients, you know, that aren't like devil, aren't Satan incarnate, Chaya. Like, I'm kidding. These kind of suck too. But like, we see like a whole council of them. You're like, oh my god, they had like, you know, we see them how they operate in their day-to-day lives. So I feel like it's weird to me that I feel like not many people, or maybe I'm just on the wrong side, but I feel like I haven't seen that much like praise for this episode.
No, you're absolutely right. And I always thought the reason for it is because it's an Elizabeth-centered episode. Like, with every Elizabeth stan, this episode comes up all the time because it's Elizabeth-centered. But I feel like a lot of other people put it off because, yeah, it deals with her. It's not that action-packed as some other episodes. Like, we have some in the flashbacks, but it's much calmer. It's all in Atlantis. It's yeah, more a character episode and not really like it's a little bit important to the plot, but also outstanding. Yeah, but I was checking IMDb, and I think like in the second half of season 1, it's one of the higher ranked episodes. Like there's the Siege, which is obviously higher. But yeah, it's like it's not the worst episode, and I was really, really happy about it because I mentioned before, I'm kind of defensive of Elizabeth, and just seeing that her episode didn't as bad as maybe one would think. Even though it's really, really good. Yeah, that made me happy. I think with this episode they did it's a great episode, but they did also like continuity a bit more, like we had with Chaya, the mention of Chaya, but also when they are in the jumper and they have Zelenka there, because I think the first time he shows up is in 38 minutes, and he's also working on the jumper because he's kind of an expert there. So they brought that back in just as he does appear earlier in this timeline. And I thought it was so interesting. It's such a cool, continuity thing. And also he was just so confused about what was happening because he had no clue how the jumper was like. He was constantly like, oh, what did you do? What did you do now? It was really, really funny.
We needed more of Zelenka all the time. I'm mad he was. I mean, I consider him part of like the core, like what is it, like 7 or 8. But I don't think the show considers him as the core. But I'm like, throw Zelenka in there. It'll be a party if we just throw in Zelenka.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another continuity thing, they mentioned the Kid Planet. When they're talking about the ZPMs, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is MG, whatever the thing is."
Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, there's this sorry, I'm just jumping all over the place, but there's this one scene the moment where all the ancients left Atlantis and Elizabeth is alone, and she's standing on top of the stairs alone in this white dress, and it zooms out and just shows how big this room is. I think that's such an amazing shot, and it really, really captures the whole feeling that she must be feeling in that moment, because she's in Atlantis, this amazing city built by the ancients, and she's alone. She's not in her timeline. She's not in her time. She's completely alone, and she has to save the city. Or she's trying to save it, and this shot is just it's beautiful, and it shows the whole stairs, and it's amazing, great cinematography.
100% agree. Beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just something about this episode highlighting Elizabeth. So I think, Sam, earlier on in our podcast episode, you had mentioned we see all these sides to her, and they're all strong. I feel like they all embody strength, like her kindness, her intelligence, her leadership skills. But in this episode, we get to see her vulnerabilities a bit more. and it makes her even more of a lovable character, in my opinion. There's a scene, like the scene that you just mentioned, Ash, like that was huge. And then there's also a scene in the infirmary where she's asking herself, her older self, if she's in any pain. And her older self says, would we admit we were in pain if we were? And that is a huge thing, because I think fans of the show even take for granted that a lot of decisions that Elizabeth has to make in the series are hard for her and painful because she puts on a strong front. And this episode goes to show you that inside there's a lot more going on than what we see. And so, yeah, I just love it for that, especially.
So well said. So well said.
I'm getting emotional again. Holy shit. No, I was going to bring that up too, and I just realized I took one note that she has an extra blanket over her like hospital blanket, and it's so cute. And I'm thinking that maybe young Elizabeth brought it because she knew this woman was probably suffering and cold, and she knows it because it's her, and she just, yeah. So, side note. Yeah, but what you said, Tor, it's why I love this episode so much, because it shows us so much about Elizabeth. And we learn so much about her, either by actually talking about it or just by showing it. And I think this episode, every time young Elizabeth talks to old Elizabeth, we learn, I think we see how well she knows herself. And I think that's pretty damn well. She knows how strong she is. What you said about her being in pain but never admitting to it, and I think that both applies to physical and mental pain, probably. And it kind of hurts me that she says that, but also at the same time, it's just I admire her so much for that. And this episode also shows how that she's always worrying. Her like old or ancient Elizabeth says that as well, and I think she also has a lot of self-doubt. Like she knows how strong she is, but I think she's constantly doubting herself, and has these extremely high expectations towards herself that other people might not be aware of. And every time I watch this episode, I love it more. I love Elizabeth more. And but now talking to you, you've shown me so much more again. And I'm so thankful for that.
Oh, me too.
Oh man, I mean, no, for real. And I think it just again goes to show, like, I mean, obviously, like, sometimes, you know, we criticize the show, we love the show and stuff, but I think it is fun to kind of look at the episodes critically, because I think we've all learned so much, not just, like, you know, like, we'll say things, we'll be like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that, you know? And, I mean, after, like, watching this episode, like, I'm just astounded that people would say they don't like Elizabeth, you know? Because I can't imagine watching this episode and not absolutely loving it, and not absolutely thinking it's honestly like one of the best, not just I personally think the best Elizabeth episode, but just one of the best like character episodes in the show. We don't get this sort of like introspective kind of emotions very rarely, especially in Atlantis. Like, I always joke that like Atlantis, like we always joke they're so bad at expressing any sort of emotion. Like SG1 is all like hugging and happy and I love you, and they have never they don't say the word I love you. They barely, they barely hug. Like, it's very much like a repressed type of people show. And Tor's mentions this so many times. It's very much the island of misfit toys. And I think in this one, you really see that, like, it goes as far up as Elizabeth. Even the leader of Atlantis has also felt like, maybe she hasn't always fit in on Earth. But yeah, she's fitting in here. And again, how the hell? No, I'm about to fight someone. I'm getting all revved up. I'm getting angry. How the hell do you not like Elizabeth after this episode? I don't know. I don't know how you can watch this and not absolutely fall in love with her and think how fucking horrific her ending is. And not get angry and not think about all the episodes we were robbed of. Because I think, we kind of get on Atlantis' asses sometimes when they copy SG1 episodes, but the one episode I firmly believe they should have copied from SG1 is the Jack one, where he's the general and you like stay with him for the day and you watch his perspective. And I think that would have been so good and such an insight into how much Elizabeth not only does for the team, but what she does for the base. And I think back to what Tor was saying earlier, how a lot of people kind of just take her for granted and don't really see all the choices that she makes and how difficult it is for her. And I think that episode would have done that. And I'm so mad that both of her solo episodes are like alternate universes or parallel universes. And like, it's good, it's fine, because it gives us some great stuff, but I'm just really pissed that we never got an episode that focused on her in the present and what she does for Atlantis on a day-to-day basis.
Totally. 100%. Yeah, I couldn't even say it better. Like, that's just, yeah. Even like, the old Elizabeth in the hospital or in the infirmary when she's, listening to John and Rodney bantering and she's smiling at them fondly. I think, Elizabeth in her present self, like, she can't really indulge them as much as older Elizabeth can, so it's nice to like see her be the mirror to inside Elizabeth and see like how she really enjoys that energy, but like she has to be like the mom and be like
tearing up.
Yeah.
Bro, she loves them so much.
Yeah.
And the stupid fucking writers had to fucking
Yeah. We're breaking down, guys. It's Elizabeth breakdown hours.
I know. I think we need to like end this soon because
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional.
I'm literally about to go cry.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're genuinely all tearing up. Like, all of us are like literally tearing up.
If you could
Like,
see
we're
us.
not like literally saying that. Like, we're seeing each other right now. I'm letting you guys know. We're literally all tearing up. And I think it just, oh man. Okay, we're gonna get through this one.
Are we?
We're gonna get through it. I might start crying in the middle. This is embarrassing. First time crying on the pod.
Yay!
But I think it just goes to show not even just how great of a character she really is, but just how great of a role model she is for women as well. Just to see, like, a woman in power, and like, I feel like all of us can relate, not even if you're a woman or not, like literally any gender, any sort of sexual orientation can like relate to her being like, she has to put up a strong front, or she has to kind of like, obviously we're not making those types of decisions, but it's just so reassuring to like hear your future self or your past self or whatever tell you to slow down and tell you to appreciate those things. And I think I don't know, there's just something so inspiring that like it wasn't just some like, obviously we love them, but like it wasn't like a John episode. Like I think it's really says something, and it like just makes it more meaningful, but it was the leader of Atlantis who is a woman and who feels like she has to put a front up because or else she won't be taken seriously by the military, because she's not military, she's civilian, and she's putting herself and she's telling herself, no, you can let it go, like you can put down the wall, you can let people in, and that's that's her team, and Atlantis is her fucking home. We didn't even talk about that, but when the ancient Elizabeth wakes up and she looks out the window and she sees Atlantis and she smiles.
Oh no! Yeah.
And they took her. Oh, they took her away like that.
Yeah. It's true. Watching this episode in light of everything that happens to her is really, like, it's awful! It's so bad! Yeah. Oh my god.
Just to steer us away just a little bit now.
No, please, actually. Please, let's go happiness.
I actually think that aside from all the character work that's done in this episode, it's still a good episode. Like, it's still engaging, the way it is written, the way it is cut, with the flashbacks, with the tying into, like the little, deviances that come, like from the pilot, like, so we know it's still, I guess, quite fresh in our memories, what happened in Rising, and then just seeing it happen again, but not quite. I think it's so well done, and yeah. So even from a more distant viewpoint, not as Elizabeth adoring viewpoint, I still think it's a good episode, just the way it's made and what we see. And what it brings to the story, which is, I said earlier that it doesn't really move the plot along, but it adds so much to the lore of Stargate, of the Ancients. We learn so much about the Ancients in this episode. And yeah. And Elizabeth haters, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd argue even that it being Elizabeth, that's the one who the episode focuses on, and is the one who stays behind and does the stasis journey and the time travel. I feel like the episode would not be as powerful if it wasn't Elizabeth. Like, it had to be Elizabeth. There was no other way that we would feel this emotion in this particular plot for an episode. Like, it just, there's no better character for it to be about.
100%. And then my last note here is, I think it's interesting that we didn't see Elizabeth ascend.
Oh, yeah!
I mean, I'm sure it would have been, like, maybe, like, too confusing. Maybe they just wanted to leave it open-ended, like, because obviously they didn't know what was going to happen to Elizabeth. So they, like, didn't write themselves into that corner. But I'm, like, maybe it would have been, again, too confusing, because it would have been, like, I don't know, two Elizabeths up there hanging out. But I'm really surprised she didn't ascend, because she spent all those times, like, she spent time with them. I'm sure I don't know how long she was there for, but I'm sure she must have learned something. I mean, did they have Ascension? Well, hold on. Yeah, they had Ascension back then. Yeah, because it's 10,000 years. Yeah, because Chaya was already gone. She was already exiled. So, sad. I think that's a sad opportunity, because I think it would have, I don't know, proved that she could do it too as well. I think she easily could have done it.
Do you think she wanted to? And can be a question to both of you. Do you think she wants to ascend? Because I don't think you just ascend. You have to do something to ascend.
I feel like that's a good question.
Yeah.
I feel like it would depend on, like, what time in the story it was. Like, I feel like maybe the Elizabeth that stayed behind would want to ascend, because maybe she would be able to, like, she couldn't do anything, maybe, but, like, watch over them. And she could still, like, commune with other ancients and stuff. And I think she'd be down for that. But maybe Elizabeth of later seasons,
yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that older ancient Elizabeth, I think, would have been exactly what she wanted.
Yeah.
Maybe she met Janice again.
Yeah.
She would meet him again.
Yeah.
Because there was a vibe, right?
There was a vibe. Yes, definitely. I mean, I feel like Elizabeth could have chemistry with like a cardboard box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yes, totally.
yeah. But still,
Oh,
it
I
was
just
there.
love her so much. Oh my god.
Heck yeah, and you're right too.
Oh, I just, my heart right now is so full because of this episode and because of all the things we talked about and I got to talk about. And this episode means so much to me. And I think it's one of my most rewatched episodes on Atlantis. And just, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Exactly. It's so fucking good. Elizabeth. She's the it girl of Atlantis. Sorry. She's the girl. Honestly, I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna say it on air. She's the it girl of the franchise. Sorry.
Ooh!
Sorry. I think she is the it girl. Like, listen, Mavala Stan. Mavala Stan till I die. Mavala girl for life.
True.
But if I had to pick like the it girl, it's Elizabeth. She is the woman. She's like, honestly, for me, she's just like, I think she's like top. I think she's my third favorite. Stargate girly, but that's a side note. But I just think she's like literally like the one in the whole franchise that I think is just, I don't know, like the face of it. Like, I don't know, like there's just something like, I don't know. I think she's just like, if you had to be like, oh, like who's like the best leader, or who's like the best this, I would just say Elizabeth, like automatically.
Easy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's the it girl. She's the it girl. Yeah. Anyways, Bechdel test?
Oh yeah, pass.
Yay!
So yeah, several occasions. Would be sad if not.
Right? Imagine. Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. Behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, that's me. In other languages, it does have some other titles. In French, it's Le Grand Sommeil, which means the Great Sleep. So it's similar, but yeah. And in German, it's just 10,000 years.
Oh, wow.
Creative.
Oh, wow.
I know,
I
right?
think I should go with the French one. I really like the grand sleep?
The Great Sleep, yeah.
Oh, the Great Sleep, yeah.
Great.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the big
But
sleep.
that sounds cute. Yeah. But yeah, German aced it.
Yeah.
As usual. Yeah, so Shepard references the film Back to the Future twice in this episode. First he mentions the DeLorean and second the flux capacitor. Yeah, we talked a bit about that. Rodney was not amused.
No. He hates the physics in those movies.
The episode title refers to the last two lines from Robert Frost's poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. It's the second time a Stargate episode is titled after a Robert Frost poem. The first one being The Road Not Taken in SG1. And Rodney appears in both of them.
Yeah, he does. I love The Road Not Taken. That's such a good episode.
It is. The leader of the Council of Atlantis, Morris, was later revealed to actually have been the Stargate incarnation of the mythological figure Merlin, who is featured prominently in the Ori storyline. Though never stated on screen, it has been implied that Janus, the one who built the time jumper in SG1, found in To Be King and was used in Mobius Part 2. Yeah. This episode, which takes place on Weir's birthday, originally aired on Tori Higginson's 35th birthday.
Oh,
this is really cute.
that's adorable.
I guess it's a coincidence, but it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Also, Tori's old Elizabeth's makeup took about 4 hours to apply and 2 hours to take off again.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, people who do prosthetics, like, all the time, mad respect.
Oh yeah, I love practical effects, so hands down. Good work, people.
Yeah. Then we have 2 recurring characters, actors. Matthew Walker, who plays Morris, previously played Rohan in the SG1 episode Touchstone. Holly Dignard, who plays Old Elizabeth Weir, previously played Holly in the SG1 episode Inauguration and Lost City Part 1. So a little goof, maybe. All Lantians are shown in the episode speak English instead of Ancient. However, it has been established that Elizabeth has some knowledge of Ancient language, as the SG1 episode Lost City Part 1 shows. There, she's able to differentiate between Ancient and Latin, which is derived in universe from Ancient. Later in the Atlantis episode The Gift, Weir was seen successfully translating a text in Wraith language, which she recognized in as another derivative of Ancient. Assuming that Weir had the ability to free the Ancient by the time of before his sleep takes place, it could be argued that she and the original inhabitants of Atlantis actually spoke Ancient, which is only replaced on screen by spoken English for convenience's sake.
Ooh. That would have been so cool. Like, if she was
Right.
talking in Ancient, with, like, for her to experience that, like, to talk to Ancients in their language, like, wow, cool.
Yeah.
This too is like, it would have been such an easy little one little line of dialogue for them to be like, "Oh my god, you speak Ancient?" And she's like, "Yeah," or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they come out speaking Ancient to her, and they're like, "Oh, you just speak English," so they switch it, and she's like, "No, I can understand you," and they're like, "We'll just stay in this language to be more comfortable," or something like that. Like, they could have.
Yeah.
That's fine, but
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. I know it's kind of like, convenient to explain it this way. That they just changed it, but I actually choose to accept it because I believe that Elizabeth is Ancient and that Elizabeth is fluent in Ancient. Okay, one last little goof. Just as in the episode Rising, when Shepard fires a drone from the jumper, there's a mistake in the CGI. One drone flies off, but there's no change in the number of drones still in the jumper.
Oops.
Bye.
Yeah.
Infinite drones.
That would be something.
Oh. Talk about lowering the stakes with infinite drones.
Yeah, that's all I have on behind the scenes.
All right.
Yay! Usually this is our ending comments, but I feel like we've all kind of just reiterated so many times. First of all, how much we love this episode and how much we love Elizabeth. So yeah, I mean, I guess we can just kind of go around and say what the number we give if you guys want really quick. Or are we good?
This episode? Like, rated? 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I feel like we all kind of, easy 10. Yeah. I mean, yeah, easy 10. But yeah, I hope our sincerity, I think it'll come across really well, and just our love for the character amidst their little mental breakdowns. And just our love for, like, women in sci-fi.
Yes.
You know? We hope you enjoyed this amazing episode. Amazing, if I do say so myself, episode of Stargate Atlantis and the Jumping Puddles podcast. Tune in next week for, I should have had this open, Brotherhood. Ooh, Brotherhood. That's a good episode as well. Listen to all our previous episodes. Find us on social media in the description if you want to follow us on our private accounts, and you should because we're fun. And we do more rants and GIFs and edits and all these things.
And Elizabeth Lovin.
Elizabeth Lovin, 24/7.
Taylor Beth.
Yes!
Taylor Beth! Yes. All that good stuff. And if not, you can find all of our information on our link tree as well. So tune in next week, and thanks for hanging out with us today.
Bye.
Bye!
Bye!